Greetings of the day, viewers. Let's start today's topic financial accounting, preferably about the accounting principles with assumption and accounting conventions. In last lecture, we talk about accounting principles. Most of the time, learners are confused about accounting principles and accounting conventions. Here in this lecture, we will talk about assumptions and accounting conventions. Accounting assumptions can be defined as a set of rules that ensures the business operations of an organization and are conducted efficiently and as per the standards defined by the FASB, which ultimately helps in laying the groundwork for consistent, reliable, and valuable information. And it is based entirely on the fundamentals like consistency, reliability, and objectivity, monetary unit assumption, business entity assumption, time period, going concern, historical costs, full disclosures, and conservatism. It defines the mechanism for the reporting of financial transactions in the financial statements. These are a set of rules that makes it mandatory for the companies to conduct their business operations and reporting mechanism as per the standards laid out by the FASB. The purpose of having accounting assumptions is to provide a basis of consistency that the readers of the financial statements can use for evaluating the genuineness of the financials of a company and confirming its financial well being depicted in the same. There are mainly six principles. They are the reliability assumption, the consistency assumption, the time period assumption, the going concern assumption, the economic entity assumption, the money measurement. Let's talk about the reliability assumption. This assumption makes it mandatory for the companies to record only such accounting transactions that can be easily proven. In other words, financial transactions that can be verified through invoices, billing statements, receipts, and bank statements must only be recorded in the financial statements. Second assumption is the consistency assumption. This assumption makes it substantial for the companies to use a consistent method of accounting for all the accounting periods. Having a consistent method of accounting will ensure an easy comparison between the financial statements of a company for different financial periods. Moving on the time period assumption. This assumption states that the accounting practices and methods that are used by an entity must be reported and maintained for a particular period. The companies must ensure that these periods remain consistent for each year so that it becomes easy for the readers of the financial statements to compare the same for different periods. This assumption is also known as periodic or accounting period assumption. The going concern assumption talks about continuity. Going concern is also termed as a continuity assumption. As per this assumption, a company will continue to deliver its business operations and continue to exist for an unforeseeable future. This assumption is based on the fact that a company will never go bankrupt and it shall be able to perform its business operations for a more extended period. The fifth assumption is the economic entity assumption. This assumption separates the owner of the company from the company itself. It means that the economic entity assumption separates the company's financial records with that of the personal financial records of the company's owner. In all probabilities, the commercial business transactions must not fix with the individual transactions of the company's owner. This assumption is also known as the business entity assumption. The last assumption is money measurement concept. This states that every transaction that is worth recording must be recorded and expressed in monetary terms. The money measurement assumption enhances the understanding of the financial state of affairs of business concern. Now, let's talk about another similar concept, accounting conventions. There are four basic conventions, namely convention of consistency, convention of disclosure, convention of materiality, conservation or prudence. Very firstly, we'll talk about convention of consistency. To compare the results of different years, it is necessary that accounting rules, principles, conventions, and accounting concepts for similar transactions are followed consistently and continuously. Reliability of financial statements may be lost if frequent changes are observed in accounting treatment. Consistency also states that if a change becomes necessary, the change and its effects on profit or loss on the financial position of the company should be clearly mentioned. After that, the convention of disclosure comes. The Companies Act 1956 prescribed a format in which financial statements must be prepared. Every company that fall under this category has to follow this practice. Various provisions are made by the Companies Act to prepare these financial statements. The purpose of these provisions is to disclose all essential information so that the view of financial statements should be true and fair. However, the term disclosure does not mean all information. It means disclosure of information that is significant to the users of these financial statements, such as investors, owner, and creditors. Third convention is convention of materiality. If the disclosure or non disclosure of information might influence the decision of the users of financial statements, then that information should be disclosed. The last convention is conservation or prudence. It is a policy of playing safe. For future events, profits are not anticipated, but provisions for losses are provided as a policy of conservatism. Under this policy, provisions are made for doubtful debts as well as contingent liability, but we do not consider any anticipatory gain. So, that's all for today's lecture. Thank you.